Welcome to the Kentucky X-Files, Season 2, with your hosts Dennis Mays, Tyler Stewart, and Josh Gibbs. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you never miss an episode. Now, on to our show.
Coming towards me, just crouched down. For me, at first, I thought it was just a footage thing.
I thought it was a bear. You can tell the difference between like a small or spindly leg creature and something with a larger foot. And it was big, whatever it was. It ran straight down at us and just stopped. And it was pitch black. Couldn't see it.
And most of these witnesses that have come close to these things could have been killed.
It was beating on the side of the house. I guess it hit the side of the house as it went by.
Now, when it stood up, that's when I knew it was gone.
Right, like I needed someone to have pure faith in a higher power at that moment, and nobody fucking did.
Welcome back, guys, to your Kentucky X-Files.
It gets me every time. Every time.
I guess he had one more in.
I had one more in the tank. One more in the
tank.
Well, you got to let those out.
Yeah. You can't, like, if I don't get them out here, then they'll come out while I'm at work.
Right.
And you're sitting there talking to a customer, and then all of a sudden, you're like, hey, how's it going today? Ah, man, it's good. Ah! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's frowned
I know
upon.
what you mean, man. I feel like our listeners know what you mean.
They do. They know. They know by now. They press play. You press play, you listener. You know who you are. So how are you guys doing? It is a Wednesday night, and it is we went from a little like fall, the leaves crackling and falling off the trees, to just winter in a matter of days.
Yeah. It went from I was wearing a t-shirt outside to, I might need a flannel. It's a brisk fall evening or fall day, to the cold, gray, snowy weather of winter.
I've been waiting for this. Like, I've been waiting to break out my flannel.
You have a flannel? Do you have a flannel?
No, I don't. I need to get me some flannel.
You just said you were going to break out your flannel.
I know. I thought it sounded cool.
It is cool.
Sorry.
It is cool.
I have lots of flannel.
I have one. I got my first one recently.
Really?
My wife gave it to me.
Awesome.
Yeah. I never.
I love how dude, that really sounded very judgy. Like, really? You don't have any flannel other than the one that you just got?
Hold on a second. Okay, no, it's not okay. Let me back up and punt on this one here.
Okay.
For our millennial buddy, so he can understand. So there was a time when flannels were so popular that people would wear them in the dead of summer.
Grunge.
That is true.
So for Denny to be my age,
Yeah.
and just now get his first flannel,
Yeah, I just got my first one. Yeah.
that is mind-boggling to me.
It is weird. You know what's
I'm on like flannel 10,009.
what's like the weirdest thing about the whole thing is that I put it on and I'm like, oh wow, these are comfortable as hell.
They are. That's why I've got like 40 of them.
I honestly,
What color?
it's red. It's red and black.
Ah, traditionals. All right. Yeah.
So it's like,
So more red than black?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's got speckled quite a bit. You know, it's like
You need to take some fall pictures with an axe.
I do have a nice axe that I just re-edged.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it took me this long to get a flannel. I have no idea. Like, I don't have any kind of really, like, you know, well, you know, my family was against flannels and
So
my
it's not like the ride symbol issue. It's just
no, yeah. It's like, you know, I don't have that awesome like background story for it. It's literally just I never ended up with one. I don't know. It's weird. You know what I mean?
that is peculiar. I have to admit.
It's just one of them
But
weird.
it's probably
things.
just peculiar to me because of how many I own.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. Now that I got one though, I want to go all in. Like I like it. I'd like to have a couple more.
We'll have to sit down and have flannel talk, and I'll tell you some good brands, some brands to stay away from.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Good advice. You know.
Yeah, I'll let you try on a couple of mine. They're heavy duty. You might like them.
Yeah.
Welcome back, guys, to Flannel Talk.
Flannel files.
The Flannel Files.
How about you, listeners? What's your go-to warm shirt? Are you a sweater person? Are you a hoodie person? Are you a flannel person?
What is your fall colors?
What is your fall colors?
What is your fall color?
What are fall colors?
I thought they were just like the colors the trees turned into.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Earth tones.
Huh. Okay.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I've made the joke like for a long time, but I never, you know what I mean?
Think the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Everything in that cartoon is fall colors.
That's a classic.
It is a classic.
That is a classic. You guys, have you guys like read any weird stuff this week? I know I have.
I heard a wonderful theory that I wanted to go over with you guys, see what you guys think.
All right. What we got?
It's the first time I've heard it this way, and it involves the Neanderthals.
Okay.
So,
you know, I'm in.
There's a YouTube channel I watch quite extensively because he's just entertaining as hell. The channel is Sam Onella Academy.
Okay.
And he teaches history and things in some pretty entertaining fashion, right?
Yeah.
I've learned so much, but I've also forgotten a lot because I binge watch it. So, you know, information overload. But I actually just watched it before we started recording, and he has a theory on why the Neanderthals went away.
Okay.
He said, and it's going completely against the grain from everybody else. All right.
All right.
And it's called the sexy Neanderthal theory.
Okay, I'm in.
I had to pause because I knew.
Yeah.
Pause for that one. Okay, so his theory is that, all right, you know how in nature there's generally two different ways that animals pick a mate, right? So like certain animals the males will fight for dominance to mate with a female. And then other animals, the females will exclusively decide on themselves which male to pick, regardless of what the male does, right?
Okay.
Like for example, two bucks will fight each other and rut over a doe, while peacocks spread their feathers and the peahen decides who she wants to be with, right?
Yeah.
So human beings, by and large, kind of fall under both categories.
Okay.
Right. So the guys typically will be more aggressive while the females will still decide, which makes sense because, you know, for guys, reproduction is about 500 calories and 15 minutes of their time. While for women, it's a much, much more extensive process, you know?
Yeah.
So the theory is that because Neanderthals were definitely stronger and more muscular, and because their features, everything about them that made them manly was more so manly than a human. You know what I mean? Like all the manly features in a human is exaggerated in a Neanderthal. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we've got to, while saying this, I got to back up and say we've got to completely forget about what we find attractive now because times have changed. You know?
Okay.
So ancient humans versus us found two very different things attractive. What drew them to the opposite sex.
Right.
So for the female humans, this extremely strong, extremely virile male species of Neanderthal would have been an ideal suitor, right?
Yeah.
And for the female Neanderthals, the men weren't as picky as they were opportunistic.
Okay.
So the theory is because there was more humans than Neanderthals, the Neanderthals sexied themselves out of existence.
Gotcha.
And I think it's a fantastic theory.
That is.
I don't know if it holds water, but to me, it seems legit. It sounds like it's based in truth, you know?
Yeah.
And I would love to see somebody besides a YouTube historian and us dig into this.
Absolutely. Okay. That goes a long way because we still have Neanderthal DNA floating around out there, and most of us, like a high percentage of humans across the planet, right?
Right, and certain sections of Europe, there's a large population of people that have an even larger amount than the average.
Right. So I could see this. I could get behind this. I think that, I mean, why not? You know, I mean, we obviously have the evidence to show that their genes have passed down. So it makes sense to me. I mean, it's I don't think it's that crazy of a theory.
I think it's a fantastic theory, personally. What about you, Tyler? What do you think, buddy?
I'm a little like lost on the whole thing. Like it's kind of an odd kind of theory. I've been like sitting here trying to contemplate it. I was like, I really want to have something for it, but really have nothing.
Is it a lot to swallow right off the bat?
Yeah,
it's pretty wild.
I mean, so it makes sense to me though.
Right. So I mean, we've all seen the 13th Warrior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You remember the statue of Mother?
Yeah.
You know the statue of Mother is based on real carvings, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good example of like that was, those statues were, ancient human Playboy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So the idea of attractiveness is so vastly different from us that it's like, I guess, hard to understand or wrap your head around the idea of the Neanderthal being a sex symbol.
Yeah.
But in a world where you can be eaten by anything that moves in the grass at any given moment, something stronger that can fight off said predator would be an attractive thing to have, because at that point it's not so much about GQ and swagger as it is sustaining life.
It does make sense. I mean, it's kind of ingrained in us, to choose stronger, healthier, more comely, mates. So
right.
I mean, I could see it. I can literally see it. I even just hearing it, I'm like, wow, this is I think it's like probably it's probably closer to the mark than they even realize.
Right. I don't know. I feel like it may very well be the answer. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm nobody. I'm not a scholar by any stretch, but I mean, it makes sense. If there's a whole lot more humans than there are Neanderthals by whatever reason, I don't know if we reproduced more often or what, but if there was more of us at the time and we could interbreed, then it only makes sense that the vast majority is going to breed out the other ones, so to speak.
Yeah, no kidding. Man, that's crazy. God damn, yeah. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, holy shit, dude. This dude probably just accidentally solved it, not even really trying.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I'm gonna send over a picture of an actual carving from prehistory. This was a goddess.
Yeah.
This was the epitome of beauty in Europe.
Wow. I mean, you see that. That's a recurring theme all throughout. I mean,
yeah.
You know, it's pretty amazing. Wow, just looking at that. We're going to have to put that on our Facebook page. Let people see it.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I'm actually, I
wonder if we should we link the episode?
Yeah, why not? That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and see if I can find it, and I'll throw it in the chat here.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be pretty sweet. So I don't know. Okay, so you've been looking into that. You know what I've been doing? I have been reading a book entitled "The Wilderness Hunter." Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to tell you guys a little part of this. All right. If you're not familiar with this book at all, are you familiar with it at all? Have you ever heard of it?
No, I have not.
Okay. So I want to tell you a little part of this, and then I want to tell you the author afterwards. Okay. So if you guys are in for it, it's going to be a couple pages, and then I'll tell you who the author of the book is. All right, because this blew my mind. Right, because I actually read this excerpt before I knew who wrote it. All right, so I will start with this page right here. Frontiersmen are not, as a rule, apt to be very superstitious. They lead lives too hard and practical and have too little imagination in things spiritual or supernatural. I have heard a few ghost stories while living on the frontier, and these were of a perfectly commonplace and conventional type. But once I listened to a goblin story, which rather impressed me. It was told by a grizzled, weather-beaten old mountain hunter named Bauman, who was born and had passed all of his life on the frontier. He must have believed what he said, for he could hardly repress a shudder at certain points of the tale, but he was of German ancestry, and in childhood had doubtless been saturated with all kinds of ghosts and goblins lore, so that many fearsome superstitions were latent in his mind. Besides, he knew well the stories told by Indian medicine men in their winter camps of snow walkers and specters, and formless evil beings that haunt the forest depths, and dog and waylay the lonely wanderer who after nightfall passes through the regions which they lurk. And it may be that when they overcome by the horror and the fate that befell his friend, when oppressed by the awful dread of the unknown, he grew to attribute, both at the time and still more in remembrance, weird and elfin traits to what merely some abnormally wicked and cunning wild beast. But whether this was or not so, no man can say. When the event occurred, Bauman was still a young man, and was trapping with a partner among the mountains dividing the fork of the Salmon from the head of the Wisdom River. Not having much luck, he and his partner determined to go up into a particularly wild and lonely pass through which ran a small stream said to contain many beaver. The pass had an evil reputation because the year before a solitary hunter who had wandered into it had been slain, seemingly by a wild beast. The half-eaten remains were being afterwards found by some mining prospectors who had passed this camp only the night before. The memory of this event, however, weighed very lightly with the two trappers, who were as adventurous and hardy as any others of their kind. They took their two lean mountain ponies to the foot of the pass, where they left them in the open beaver meadow. The rocky, timber-clad ground from thence onward impracticable for horses. They then struck out on foot through the vast, gloomy forest, and in about 4 hours reached a little open glade where they concluded to camp, as signs of game were plenty. There were still an hour or two of daylight left, and after building a brush lean-to, throwing down and opening their packs, they started upstream. The country was very dense and hard to travel through, as there was much down timber, although here and there the somber woodland was broken by small glades of mountain grass. At dusk they again reached the camp. The glade in which it was pitched was not many yards wide, the tall, close-set pines and firs rising around the wall. On one side was a little stream, beyond which rose the steep mountain slopes covered with unbroken growth of evergreen forest. They were surprised to find that during their short absence something, apparently a bear, had visited the camp, and had rummaged about their things, scattering the contents of their packs and sheer wantonness destroying their lean-to. The footprints of the beast were quite plain, but they paid no particular heed to them, busying themselves with rebuilding the lean-to and laying out their beds and stores, and then lighting a fire. While Bauman was making supper, it being already dark, his companion began to examine the tracks more closely, soon took a brand from the fire to follow them, where the intruder had walked along the game trail after leaving their camp. When the brand flickered out, he returned and took another one, repeating his inspection of the footprints very closely. Coming back to the fire, he stood by it a minute or two, peering out the darkness, suddenly remarked, "Bauman, that bear was walking on 2 legs." Bauman laughed at this, but his partner insisted that he was right, and upon again examining the tracks with a torch, they certainly did seem to be made by 2 paws, or feet. However, it was too dark to make sure. After discussing whether the footprints could possibly be those of a human being, and coming to the conclusion that they could not be, the 2 men rolled up in the blankets and began to go to sleep. At midnight, Bauman was awakened by some noise and sat up in his blankets. As he did so, his nostrils were struck by a strong wild beast odor, and he caught the loom of a great body in the darkness at the mouth of their lean-to. Grasping his rifle, he fired at the vague, threatening figure, but must have missed, for immediately afterward he heard the smashing of the underwood as the thing, whatever it was, rushed off into the impenetrable blackness of the forest of the night. After this, the 2 men slept but very little, sitting up by the rekindled fire, but they heard nothing more. In the morning, they started out to look at the traps that they had left the previous evening and put out new ones. By unspoken agreement, they kept together all day and returned to the camp towards the evening. Okay, so this is a journal of Theodore Roosevelt.
Really?
Yes. And it's basically when he was out wandering the wilderness and recording his, his adventures, you know what I mean? So a lot of this stuff, people make the comment like, well, even Theodore Roosevelt believed in Bigfoot. He absolutely did. But he also believed in a lot of other stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, the account goes into crazy detail. And I even have a little trouble reading it because even the way it's written and spoken is, I mean, let's face it, it's from a different time. You know what I mean? It's hard to land the cadence of how they wrote and spoke back then, you know?
Right. Yeah. Their use of the English language was different.
Yeah.
And that gives us 2 historical figures from the United States that have similar encounters, doesn't it? Because wasn't there wow, I cannot believe their name just escaped me. Lewis and Clark.
Oh yeah. They had some crazy stories too. So one of the guys in this account, not Bauman but the other man, he didn't survive this adventure.
Really?
Yeah, because it became a game of cat and mouse over the span of, a week, where they were trying to they were trying to kill what they considered a half human or half devil, right?
Right.
And they were trying to basically track it and, take it out. And it literally was one step ahead of them at all times. And apparently the eyewitness account is that at some point there was, it was near them, and apparently in almost dead silence, it grabbed the other man and broke his neck with what they describe as its forepaws. Yeah, so, yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
I'm definitely going to have to dive into this.
Yeah.
Because Teddy Roosevelt's probably my favorite president of all time.
Yeah. And pretty known for not being you know what I mean? Like, he was pretty straight shooter.
Yeah, he was kind of one of your last John Wayne no bullshit politicians,
Right. So, I mean, he goes on to describe what they call as the Great Goblin Beast. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's I don't know. I found it very interesting, and I'm still reading. I'm still into it. So I'm not quite there yet. I know there's plenty more in the book to look into.
Right.
But I found it fascinating.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Terrifying because
right.
I mean, you go from this to like nowadays, like David Paulides and his missing 411 and people vanishing, you know what I mean, without a trace and all this, and then you got stories like this from history. I don't know the details of the Lewis and Clark story, but I know it's a lot of people rely on that story a lot because it's there was they were already exploring unknown areas. They didn't need to add any kind of folklore, especially since they were trying to push for expansion. They were
trying to make it seem like it was plausible for people to live there. Yeah, they were trying to show that you could go that way.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm trying to find the excerpts of Lewis and Clark's writing to find the part where they talk about it. I know I've read it before, but man, it's been a minute.
I was going to say, I think you brought that to our attention in season 1, fairly early on, like right around the time when I showed up.
Yeah.
Because that was the first I'd ever heard of it.
Yeah, I'd always meant to go back and do more research into this, and I never did. I mean, we've been all over the place, and we've definitely been doing all kinds of stuff, so it's been just one of those, what do you call it, one of those things I wanted to work on and just never really got around to, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that happens,
Yeah.
I tell you, it's... this feels like one of those episodes where we're going to have just be all over the place.
Yeah.
And, I think that's kind of cool. I like these episodes because it's, first off, it makes it a pain in the ass to title. And, second off, it's just a lot of fun to jump around.
Yeah.
Because when you were reading that, I typed in something on Google just to see if I could come up with another topic,
Yeah.
And I found something that this is the first time I've ever heard of it, and it's pretty wild.
What's that?
So I just found an article about a UFO and a CSX train.
Really?
Colliding. Yeah.
What?
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. The title of it is CSX Freight Train's Mysterious Encounter with UFO.
What?
The article is titled is dated April 7th, 2022. It's from ourstrangeworld.co.uk, and I found it on about 4 other sites. So you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But I'll paraphrase this, so I'm not just train robbing, so to speak.
Yeah.
But apparently, in Paintsville, Kentucky, on January 14th in 2002, there was a train approaching a bend near an area where railway men referred to as the Wild Kingdom. I guess because there was all kinds of crap that would go on. The animals you would see, they'd see lights coming from far around. You know, it was just a strange place on the tracks, you know?
Yeah. So
as the train rounded the corner, an onboard computer began to flash in and out, and the speed recorder went nuts. Apparently there was 2 locomotives on the train, and they both died. And like alarm bells were going off and things, and that's when the crew saw something floating above the tracks, scanning the river. There was apparently 3 objects there, had several searchlights, and they were hovering about 10 to 12 foot above the track, just shining their lights down into the river. So the trains were kind of idling through, basically, because the engines were dead. So they were rolling, but they weren't under power, you know.
Yeah.
But you know as well as I do that trains don't exactly stop on a dime, you know. They hit the object at 30 miles per hour with 16,000 trailing tons behind them.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It clipped the top off it clipped to the top of the lead locomotive, skipped back, slicing a chunk out of the trailing unit and 2 coal cars. The objects vanished into thin air. Because of the loss of power, the emergency brakes on the train had automatically came on, and it took 1.5 miles to 2 miles to stop the train after it had the impact.
Yeah. This is crazy. That's nuts.
And there's this particular site does not have pictures of the train.
Yeah.
But this one does, and it shows the damage done to the train itself. So I'm going to copy this in here, and I'm going to paste it in our chat so you guys can hop on that link there and take a look at that. And I'll copy a link to the article I just paraphrased. If I can get my mouse to work. You know, if anybody's looking to buy old Josh here anything for Christmas, a new wireless mouse and keyboard should be on the list.
Yeah.
Because I have all kinds of trouble with those 2 particular objects. But there you go, man. You want to talk about some wild stuff? Right there is some wild stuff.
Wow. I'm checking it out right now. This is insane. I never heard anything about this.
I've never heard anything about it either, and I know people that work for CSX, and I live close to train tracks, you know? So, like, you know, you'd think you'd hear something.
It's crazy.
That is some wild stuff right there. I'd love to know more. Oh, okay. Here's another part. Okay, I didn't scroll down far enough. They were instructed, when they got back, they were instructed to head into an office by a man they had never met before, who wore no insignia associated with regular railroad officials. They were questioned for hours, and upon coming back out of the office, their 2 lead locomotives and wagons had been moved to a separate part of the yard under tents. There was a hive of activity in the area. Before being allowed to leave, they had their mobile phones confiscated and were medically tested.
No shit.
And finally, before they left, the man that interviewed them said that it is in the best interest of national security to keep the incident to themselves.
Wow. So that's your atypical Men in Black, I guess.
Right.
It's pretty wild. There's another video that came up when I was looking at that website you sent.
Yeah.
And for what is this? Our www.ourstrangeworld.co.uk. Okay, so this one says that UFOs have been sighted in the air over the Russian and Ukraine conflict.
Really?
Yeah. That apparently someone had said. Hang on, let me pull this back up here. Yeah, it says here UFO over Ukraine reportedly attacks Russian tanks while other UFOs recorded over Russia.
Wow. I wish I could read Russian because I'm looking at the video right now.
Yeah, I know.
And man, you know, their language is just it's just hard.
It looks angry too.
Oh, it looks so angry.
It just looks like it. It just looks mad.
Have you ever seen Russian cursive? Dude, there's no wonder those people are so angry over there. I mean, it's insane. That's a pretty wild UFO video. I mean, it's not really conclusive of anything, but
yeah,
it's pretty wild.
It's pretty neat.
Because, I mean, I don't know what kind of camera they took that with. I mean, that could be anything that flies with lights, you know?
Yeah. I like, I'm looking at some of the other, I'm looking at some of the other stories on a website called phantomsandmonsters.com, right?
Right.
And this is really cool. You want to hear some, like, honorable mentions, I think?
Sure.
Okay, here's probably, this might be my third favorite. Woman claimed that she gave birth to 48 alien hybrids. So, I mean...
Her poor uterus.
Right?
I mean... Good Lord.
Right. Here's another one. Creepy spawn from hell cryptid baby encountered. Not interested in that, right? I've already made my case on that. But my favorite one, out of all of these articles that I keep seeing, is tall white aliens frequenting Las Vegas casinos.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are they winning?
I don't know.
Or are they just addicted to gambling?
Winner, chicken dinner?
Yeah, I don't know. It just says here that their presence on Earth has been reported. These are not the same non-terrestrial faction encountered on 4 occasions since 2015. So I don't know. There's some history here. I don't know what to think of it, but just the fact that hang on, give me a pause for a second, fellas. Okay, every time these links come through, it's going doo-doo really loud, and I gotta figure out how to fucking solve this because I'm gonna be editing this shit out.
Oh crap! I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, keep talking for a second.
Yep. I don't know if I should continue on what I was I was going to start saying. Just talking random circles until you.
Can you paste something and hit it? I want to see if I fixed it.
Yeah, give me a second.
I mean, even if it's the same thing twice. Okay, there we go. Cool. Yeah, I fixed it. All right.
Okay.
So, sorry about that. I had to fix that.
I found something. I saw this recently. I don't know if this is old or not.
Yeah. I just seen it pop up here.
Okay. Watch that video. Okay, this... Wolves get big, but man, this wolf is massive.
Oh.
They thought it was a bear at first, and look at to compare it to the dog.
Oh yeah. I have seen this.
Yeah, I've seen this before too, and it never gets old because that is a massive black timber wolf.
God, that is like abnormally huge. What kind of dog is that?
I don't know. I need to be able to pause it so I can tell you.
It looks like a husky, if not like that, because the way that the pattern of the fur is.
I don't think it's a husky. Let me see if I can get it paused here. Damn it.
I tell you what, that dog charges it, and then instantly, before it even moves, the dog tucks its tail and turns the other way. So he knows, like, right off the bat, like, okay. And how straight the tail of the bigger wolf is nuts.
That dog has somewhat short hair.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. This is a good one, too, to throw on the old Facebook page.
Yeah.
Just let people see it. I'm going to paste
Definitely.
it. I'm going to paste it right now.
I'd like to do the, that video I sent to the chat, that weird thing in the water.
Let me grab it.
Man.
I'll throw it up, too.
Yeah, see, that dog's got sort of short hair. It's like a medium coat dog. I'm trying to figure out what breed it is, though, because it's kind of blurry. And, you know, it almost looks like a mutt between, like, what are those big-ass coonhounds?
Yeah.
The healers? Or harriers?
Yeah.
And a Labrador is almost what it looks like. It looks like a pretty substantial-sized dog. You know, like about probably about between 80 to 100-pound dog.
Yeah.
And man,
but look at its head when it's like, because it's like laying down, about to charge. That its head is probably, it looks like the size of a human head.
Are you talking about the wolf?
Yeah, probably
that
bigger.
Wolf is enormous. I mean, I've seen some big wolves. I've seen one in person. I watched it walk up and lay its, like, damn near lay its head on the hood of my Power Stroke. It was one of Dave's dad's friend's pets.
No kidding.
And when we were up there visiting his dad, we had to pop over there. And when I pulled in the driveway, that thing come walking up and just looked over the hood of my 3/4-ton four-wheel drive Power Stroke. And I was like, what is that? He's like, that's his wolf. I'm like, holy crap. Does he ride it?
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, well, yeah, I know this is not a cryptid, but
I mean, it's an explanation for some cryptids.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, but man, whew.
Did you guys see the video I sent you today? It was entitled Kangaroos Don't Give a Shit.
Oh, no, I didn't get a chance to watch it.
You should, if you could pull it up, you should give that a look real quick. I'd love to get your guys your impressions.
Actually, I think I've sent you some of these videos when we were sitting there. Oh my God, he squares up to the fucking truck.
Yeah, think of some of the accounts too. You know, like
right. I mean, it makes sense. Like, remember when we were looking at it? The some of these I've sent you, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't like kangaroos are just dicks.
They really
I'm
are.
sorry.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, but remember there was one video of a kangaroo a guy just like, I guess he skydived. Yeah. And they start beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. I was on there one day and I came across a video of this like village, and they had this gigantic like snake, a python or something that they'd killed. And I'm like, dude, this is Titanoboa.
Right.
This thing is enormous. Oh, and I'm looking at this like, this is real? You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? It's crazy. And here we go. On this same website, phantomsandmonsters.com, I find a report here that says, cryptid report, kangaroo-like humanoid called the Gunnyman, a dog-killing creature. says here 3 separate cryptid accounts, including a kangaroo-like humanoid. Let's see here. I'm trying to make sure I read the right one. Yeah, it says here, large orange eyes, stands about 3 foot to 4 foot tall. Chest looks like a human. Crazy. I don't know.
I'm trying to find it.
I don't know.
I'm on the web. I'm on that page right now, and I'm trying to find it.
Oh, there's so many.
I need to get an ad blocker because I'm fighting ads.
Yeah, there's so many on here, you know. I love it because it's like there's so many people, you know, chiming in and adding stuff, but at the same time, it's like this is a lot. This is a lot.
T-Rex photographed in South Texas.
Oh, I mean, what do we got?
I've got ads and a mouse that wants to argue.
Tyrannosaurus Rex photographed in South Texas. Photo multiple sightings in Hebronville.
What the absolute shit?
What are we looking at here?
I scrolled down to the picture. Okay.
Yeah. This is getting out of hand, folks. This is blatantly
a toy dinosaur.
Yeah. So I mean, technically, I guess they're not wrong. A T-Rex was photoed, but still,
by all rights and means, yes, that's exactly what that is. But
is it a black and white photo?
No, it's green and white, and every other color. But it's absurd.
Wow.
Okay, I'm not getting that.
Yeah, that's getting out of hand.
That it kind of that reminds me of the I can't remember where it was the man, what the heck is it? I can't remember. It's what some people do call the Thunderbird, but it's by another name. It's the rope or rup.
Okay.
I can't remember it. There's I really wish I would have had this like pulled up before I said it. But yeah, it's like a pterodactyl.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. I can't remember where it was. It's not around here, but it said that there was a lady that said that she saw it. She was driving down down the road, and then she went over this bridge. She saw something out of a corner of her eye that was like kind of below the bridge.
Yeah.
And then when she pulled a U-ing, she came back and she stopped, and she said she saw it like kind of going up, flapping its like wings and stuff and going up in the air, and it was. And she described it as a pterodactyl, like how the skin looked, like the long, like kind of beak, style. Do they have beaks, or would they be considered a beak?
I guess.
I guess it would be a mouth of sorts.
Right.
It just comes to a point. It's not in like your actual typical beak, but everybody. Right. I don't know why I'm explaining this. Everybody's seen Jurassic Park, so they know what a pterodactyl looks like.
Right.
I think I've heard of people seeing the pterodactyls, you know what I mean, and all this. And I know I've told you this before, but when I was in, I want to say the 4th grade. Okay, so this is the damnedest thing, all right? When I was in the 4th grade, I knew a girl named Heather, all right? And Heather had told me once that her uncle or dad or somebody had seen a dinosaur, right? And being kids, I'm like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, you're just trying to scare me, blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, I have a picture. Oh, really? Okay. So, all right, so here's where it gets a little weird, okay? She brings a picture in like a couple days later and shows it to me, and okay, I will admit to you guys that then when I looked at it, I laughed at it. I laughed at her, and I was like, yeah, whatever. This is fake. And then years later, I started to think about that picture, right?
Right.
In the picture, it looked like a pterodactyl, and it was scooping something out of the water in flight. So there was a little bit of a blurriness to it, right? Okay, so that wasn't the thing that got me. That all could have been from a book or a movie, anything, right? The thing that got me was the camera's flash had caused its lenses to eye shine. And still to this day, I have a tough time with that one. Where I'm like, okay, I mean, if you snapped a picture from a movie, there wouldn't be any eye shine.
Right. Yeah, it wouldn't transfer through film.
Yeah, and if you took a picture out of a book, why would there be eye shine? They would just be an illustration. They wouldn't do eye shine. You know what I mean? This was clearly like it was like a evening setting, I guess, like a lower light, but the flash lit the immediate area up. So I've never seen anything like it since. And even though I know that the whole dinosaur and pterodactyl thing is very far-fetched, I still have trouble shrugging that one off. Because I'm like, I don't know, there's one time I saw a picture, and at the time, you know what I mean, I didn't really think much of it, but now, when I think about it, especially now, we look into this stuff, and we're like, oh, I shine this, and this is plausible, and this is not, and I'm like, man, this would have been like, this picture would have been impressive now. Do you know what I mean? Like, today's standards, this picture would have been pretty impressive. So I don't know. I just thought I'd add that to. I don't know. I don't know what to think, but it's crazy.
I kind of wanted to throw this out there, since just to kind of clarify, like, anybody that's out there, that anything we talk about, like, is like, you think it's too far-fetched, kind of like what you're going with. And here, I just found this. These are 7 species that were considered cryptids at one point in time.
Okay.
One is the Komodo dragon.
Really? That was a cryptid?
Yeah, that was considered a cryptid. It was until the 1910.
I did not know that.
The stories of the giant lizards on the island of Komodo were laughed at by anybody respectable scientists. However, when I am not going to say this guy's name because I'm going to butcher it, caught and killed one.
Yeah.
So yeah. Bronx Zoo inspired something Cooper, some name C. Cooper to write the that inspired the dragon were put in display, blah blah blah, and inspired to write the classic 1933 classic King Kong.
No kidding.
No shit.
The platypus.
Wild.
Yeah, I knew that one was one.
Really? The platypus was one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Platypus scientist of the European in 1798.
No shit.
The okapi. It looks like a deer. It's like a zebra deer.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. They're like
gorilla.
a deer in the front with zebra stripes on his butt.
No, it looks like a doe with the zebra stripes on its butt and legs, front legs too. Has like brown fur like on its main torso and its neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was, I think, your 18th and 19th centuries called it the African unicorn. That's what they called it in the 18th and 19th century.
No kidding.
The gorillas, we've always talked about that it used to be a cryptid at one point in time.
Yeah.
The giant squid, we've said that too. I don't know. I can't say this name, but it's like some type of koala bear. Looks like it's like a black koala bear, and kangaroos.
Kangaroos?
Yep.
That seems crazy. Like, how could you? You know what I mean? How could you call them cryptid? Like,
I love that you say that. In the article, it says it's hard to believe that kangaroos were once a cryptid.
oh my god. Well, I think they are again. So. I think,
they're mistaking as another cryptid.
I think that they're somebody's trying to put them back into cryptid status. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it goes to show that we need, like, I feel like a lot of people out there, even people that are like super skeptics out there, would throw the same thing. Well, we have so much technology today. That's the reason why we.
Yeah.
Like why we found these new creatures and stuff. Like, don't always trust your like the technology to find everything. Like that's that I'm not saying that like technology can't help in a way, but still, like, you don't know, like, if it's a cryptid, like, that means you don't know anything about this animal, and you don't know what you're doing is right searching for it.
Wow.
So that's why I'm kind of like, I just wanted to try to show, say these species that used to be cryptids, to tell people, like, hey man, like, there's a chance that there's things out there that we still don't know about.
No kidding.
Like, I remember there was one animal, I really wish I could find it, but I can't remember what animal it was, but it was a very tiny animal that they said that the reason why it eluded everybody for so long is because it had infrasound. Like, it kind of like made you feel uneasy and stuff, like, and you would just pass over it. You never knew it was there.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Like, that was its deterrent.
No kidding. Wow. Dude, it's amazing. I'm still kind of blown away about the platypus. Like, really? You know what I mean? Like, I can see it. Like, if you know, back then, if you're like, yeah, man, there's the beaver and it's a duck.
Yeah, right.
And it's a beaver. And people are probably looking at you like, are you high? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? There's no beaver duck out there. And you're like, dude, I swear it's a beaver duck. You know, and then when that thing was discovered, it's like, I fucking told you. Told you the goddamn beaver duck was out there.
Something else we got to think about too is, in order to go see some of these creatures that we're talking about, it was a lot more than just going to the zoo. It was a lot more than just hopping in a vehicle, and riding out into the woods. You know,
right?
Like, the world was a lot further disconnected at this time.
Yeah,
we didn't have any form of internet, social media, anything like that. Everything was hand-painted drawings, you know?
Yeah.
In books. That's what we saw. That's how we saw it. So when you think of the platypus being a cryptid, it's technically a cryptid because the people writing the books didn't believe it was real, even though the people that lived there knew it was.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And they would tell stories about it. They were probably warning people because the platypus is poisonous. Or venomous.
Yeah. Like a
venomous
claw.
Yeah, it's got a venomous.
Leg.
It's got a venomous spike. It can inject venom into you. So they're probably warning, you know, the people that were not from there, like, hey man, there's this creature. Don't let it touch you.
Yeah.
And then when they described it, they were like, "What the fuck is he talking? There's no way.
There's no such thing as a
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and let's think about it this way too: is maybe they're not as easy to come across.
Yeah.
As, you know, like National Geographic or one of those other channels would make you believe. You know, every time those shows go out to look for something, they find it.
No
you know,
shit, yeah.
That's the one thing Nat Geo has definitely got on all the Bigfoot shows.
But that's the thing.
That's
like,
true.
those shows now know where they need to look.
Yeah,
exactly.
What they need to do to find these like these creatures.
Right.
That's when I feel like a lot of these people that are looking for like Sasquatch or Frogman or any of the animal mans.
I'm waiting for Frogman to answer back.
We don't
to your fight.
We don't.
My fight
yeah,
challenge.
we don't know anything. We don't know anything about them. So how can we track something that you don't know nothing about?
Yeah.
It's so surreal to sit here and be on a show where we talk about the unknown and the weird, to think about what if what we're talking about becomes the norm eventually.
Yeah.
Like, not everything we talk about, obviously, but like, just what if something that we've discussed comes out and is scientifically proven?
I just
right.
Okay, what's one cryptid that you wish that would not be real? Like, if it was, there's a chance that it's out there, you wish that it just don't be real. I think we've already asked this. I know that Denny's probably the not deer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like, of all the cryptids, I think the Skinwalker would be the one that I hope to hell isn't real.
Yeah, like
because you never
Wendigo.
Yeah, Skinwalker, Wendigo, anything like that, because it can be whatever the hell it wants to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, you mean like a person that changes into?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You know.
Or a Skinwalker that turns into a person, because that's, again, who knows which theory is correct.
Okay, so it's an animal that turns into anything, or
I think
it's a spirit. It's a spirit that can inhabit whatever form it chooses. That's terrifying.
I actually would like to get since you said that actually reminded me. We talked to a guy, and I think it was like the 4th or 5th episode of the podcast. Nathan Couch. He was talking about the Goat Man. He wrote a book. Wrote a book about it, and he was talking that he believes that the Goat Man is actually Pan. It's like a forest spirit.
Yeah.
And apparently, it's kind of more malevolent. It taunts you to I guess. I can't remember how
jump off bridges and shit.
Yeah, it makes you paranoid to just do it, to do crazy acts. So I would say I hope that the Goat Man would I don't want the Goat Man to be real or Pan for that.
Yeah.
Even the story that's by from us, I can't remember what's the famous one called. It's something Bridge.
The Trussell.
The Goat Man. Under that trestle or whatever. There's 2 stories that I remember from that. Was the first one was a farmer, he lost a bunch of sheep or something, or is I guess he had a bad year.
He went nuts and became the Goat Man or something.
No, he basically sold his soul to the devil. So I guess to basically to get his life back on track.
Yeah.
But I guess he had to chop off a goat's head or kill a goat, one of his goats.
Yeah.
One of his last remaining.
The devil loves when you mutilate your livestock.
Yeah, and then he became the Goat Man.
Yeah.
But then there was another one saying that Goat Man was a carnival or a circus act.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
Basically a circus freak that fell off, and he just haunts this bridge for. I feel like that's just poor writing.
Right.
That's just okay, how easy can we make this story? Just he's okay. He's a circus freak. He falls up the thing, and he just stays in this one place for the rest of his life. Okay, that's that's scary.
Yeah.
It's I'm willing to believe more of the sacrifice, selling your soul to the devil, more than that.
Yeah,
and that's probably the more plausible one, other than the fact that why would he stay there? What would keep him there if he's just a real person?
Right. Yeah. Why does he just hang out there? Yeah. That's the thing that gets me is like the goat man doesn't go anywhere. That's all he does. I mean,
he just fell off and he's like, well, I live here now.
Here I am. Yeah.
Here I am.
I don't know, fellas. We're coming up on about an hour though, and I want to make sure that we shout out this kid. Okay. I don't know if you guys have heard about this kid. There's a kid living in India as we speak against all odds, and his name is Deepak. And I might be saying it wrong. Deepak. I don't know. 8 years old. He bit a cobra to death.
What?
Let that one sink in for a second. This kid was attacked by an aggressive cobra. And it bit him and it wouldn't let go, right? In his own words, he says, as the reptile didn't budge when I tried to shake it off, I bit it hard twice. And he killed the snake. So, all Chuck Norris jokes aside, a cobra once bit a boy named Deepak. And moments later it died. And that is true. And that kid is a badass. And this to me is the what do you call it? Weird, this is like the proof in the pudding that weird shit happens all over the world. Whether we want to believe it or not. And this happened. And apparently somehow the cobra did not get him with any venom, so he didn't even need anti-venom, which was amazing and good for him and good for his parents. I'm sure they were freaking out. I would have been. But at the same time, I have to say, if my kid came home and said a cobra bit me and I bit it and it died, I'd probably be like, okay, 1, you're a badass.
Right.
And like 2, where's the body? Because we need pictures of this. We're going to pose you with them. You know what I mean? We're making a belt out of it for you. I don't know. We're going to do something cool. That's your cobra. But yeah, I thought that was pretty amazing. And I really wanted to make sure we got that in the show. And you can look it up. It's all over the internet. It's amazing. I believe Coast to Coast covered the story a little bit too, which is pretty awesome. I'm still a fan of Coast to Coast. Still to this day.
That's a hell of a way to leave the show. I think we definitely need to go out on that note.
Deepak, man. Shout out to him.
Deepak.
Hell yeah, dude. Badass right there.
Right?
Yep.
Show us your flannels. We'll see you guys Monday.
Yep. See you Monday. Send us $1,000. Tyler's going to say no.
Dirty penny and a picture of your dog.
He means yes.
Picture of your dog wearing a flannel.
Yeah. And one of these days, Tyler, you know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to ask the fans to send in pictures of their favorite spiders.
I love that idea. We should have did that for Halloween.
He went noticeably silent. Like he's not commenting. All right, you guys out there, you take it easy and take care of each other. Deepak.